Welcome to another edition of Emvpanayv. I'm Gary Fife, 𝙃𝙤𝙣𝙠𝙫 𝙎𝙩𝙾. I'm speaking today with Jordan Squire of the Tribal Language Department. We're going to be talking about a storytelling event you guys have scheduled, and perhaps some experiences, and get kind of an update on the language department itself. I understand it's really been a busy time this year. It seemed like there is more interest in people learning the language. Are you seeing that there?
Yeah, there's been like a huge difference than from when I first started. I've been with the program almost 4 years now, and the difference since then, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a wonderful thing, since so many languages were disappearing across the nation, and to see the rejuvenated spirit in the Muscogee language is great to hear. It makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that, of course, during COVID, we lost many affluent speakers, and
Yes.
that number was reduced. So, who is coming in now? Young people, elders, or middle-aged people who want to relearn this kind of thing? What have you seen?
Look like it's kind of mixed in, because our instructors, they go out all over and they teach. They teach the babies in Head Start, the little kids in public schools, and then we have an instructor. She does her Zoom classes to adults and whoever joins, but then we also have an instructor that goes into the communities, and it's a lot of elders that she's teaching to, so it's a little of everyone.
I have been attending classes for a while, and for me it really felt good to relearn our own culture and regain, I think, a personal feeling of achievement and pride in saying, I know a little bit about it and I can speak it. One of the tough things that I had to deal with, of course, was not knowing most of it. I understand there are a lot of people like me, perhaps even yourself, who have been exposed to it as a young person, but it never really took hold for whatever reason. And now folks are trying to regain that knowledge and bring it back and use it. Has that been your experience?
It seems like it, yeah, because I can kind of understand it more now, because I grew up, my mom, she's a fluent speaker, and so like most of my family, I heard it my entire life. So when I got older, I knew like single words, like I knew the animals, numbers, colors. I knew all that in Muscogee before I knew it in English. And so I guess like if for me, like I just, want to take those little words and, put them in the sentences and maybe be on like the conversational level one day.
Yeah, but it is a feeling of achievement when you regain that knowledge.
Oh yeah, because like I notice now, and I think it could be too from working in the program. Like I hear the language all day, every day. When my mom, when she goes home and she speaks to her brother, I can kind of like pick out like what they're saying, and I thought, well, before I never could do that. So it feels good now knowing I can kind of pick up what they're saying now.
The program has been around for a number of years, and its mission pretty much has been to revitalize the language, and it's taken hold, I think. Yeah. And what is our tribal administration telling you about your progress?
I know that we spoke with them yesterday, and they were really proud of all the work that we've been putting into the program. We're doing a lot of good things over there, and I'm excited for people to see. I'm proud of the work that we all do over there. It's something that I don't really think people outside of the office really see, but we do do a big amount, and we try to connect with as many people as we can, but for the most part, all of our administration, they've always been supportive of anything with our program.
That's good. I know there have been many occasions when outside agencies have called on this department to perform, to exhibit, to share the language at the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C., and a number of major events around the state and places like that. The rebirth of native languages has been phenomenal, I think. And it's so good to hear that, because I remember as a reporter doing stories about the last speaker of a language passing away, and then all of a sudden it was gone. They had to go back into books or whatever else to relearn it. Do you see any of that kind of problem facing us?
I hope not.
Yeah.
That's something, we're trying to, steer away from, but we are in a lot better standing than some tribes. From working, with our grants and then attending the intertribal meetings, you get to see like a various of what the other tribes that aren't as fortunate to have, as many speakers. And I mean, I know the numbers could still get up in creating speakers. So, we want to try to, before it gets to where we turn to books, work with the fluent speakers that we got today, still learn from them, because the knowledge they have is more valuable than what you can find in a book.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's living language right there. Well, our subject was to talk about the ghost storytelling event you've got coming up.
Yeah.
It was listed in the flyer as being on the 30th, but that had to change, right?
Yes.
So let's chat about that for a bit.
Okay.
It's called
Honkv Onvkuce.
Onvkuce.
Yeah, Onvkuce.
Good, I had trouble with that one.
I know.
Honkv Onvkuce. All right.
Yeah.
Now that what's that all about?
So the whole idea of this was, I had spoken to one of our instructors, and I just like scary stories and like talking about them. And so I was telling her, I said, we got a lot of good storytelling events happening, but we really never could make those. And the whole idea of it came one day when I was on the computer, and I happened to find like some little cool sound effects and little beats to use for videos. And so I had told one of our fluent instructors, I said it would be so cool if we had like little stories to go with those little sound effects that I found. And then so at first this was just going to be like a little department, like us, all 11 of us that are in our program, just telling stories like that. But then I thought, why not make it bigger? And so I spoke with most of the staff. They were all in favor of, let's do a storytelling. Then I spoke with my manager about it, and she really liked the idea too. And I thought we can incorporate some of our language terms with the storytelling event, because eventually what I want to do is take the audio for participants that are willing to be recorded and create little graphic videos to that could be featured on our social media. But that's really how it all came out, and we started planning this, and we probably had it all planned out within a couple of days. And the location, I don't know if you've gotten to visit the Cultural Preservation's new building, but it's really like a home feeling over there. We really like it. And so they have like a huge area, and I had asked Raylan if we could, have it out there, and, she was in favor of it. She really liked the idea. And so that's really how it came about, is just wanting to hear scary stories.
Wow.
Well, Gary, we had a question pop up, and I think we should mention that there is another event.
Yeah, I mean,
Is that flyer for the other event? Does
Right.
that say Chris Hill is the MC?
Yeah, let's see. Yes, it does.
Okay, so somebody is asking if Chris Hill's going to be the MC for the language event. So we might clear all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. No, not for our Muscogee language storytelling. Yeah, I believe that's the other one's like the museum. I think that's theirs.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there was like a huge, I guess, difference in them. So that's why I feel like a little more comfortable about the date, because we had to change it due to the rain. And since Cultural's got their new building, I didn't want to risk getting, messing their house up. And so I thought, well, by Friday, November 3rd, hopefully, it's not muddy and nobody's going to be sitting in wet grass and everyone, is fine. But yeah, I think that one.
Right, there are. Okay, so there are two events that are talking about Honkv there. Of course, you're an Muscogee here. And that is set for Friday, November 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
And that will be taking place, let's see, where is that?
It's at the Cultural Preservation. The address is at the flyer, but we're going to put signs up because I believe this address takes you to the building in front, but there's like a house that sits behind. It's a big white building. The house is behind it.
Okay.
Yeah, but we'll have signs posted.
And that's located here in Muscogee?
Yes.
And there's also a link in the description of this video to the post on the language program's Facebook page. If anybody wants to get the flyer or anything, it's on the screen right now too.
Okay, and while we're doing that, making that distinction, the Honkv storytelling event set by that was the Cultural Center?
I believe so, yeah, the museum.
Okay, yeah, that's October 27th at 7 p.m. And it will have vendors at the Omniplex here in Muscogee. And I see where they've got listed a Bigfoot calling contest. Now, I'm not sure I'd want to win that and have one of these suckers show up. And then a witch cackle contest and the Honkv mash dance. So they invite people to bring along a chair and a frightening story to share with the MC Christopher Hill. And that's the storytelling event on the 27th. Now back to this one here on Friday, November 3rd, the one from the language department.
Yes.
Will you have staff members there sharing stories? I mean, I think I remember a couple of things that my father mentioned as a child, but we have those kind of examples there.
I believe so. I had told, all of our staff that if they wanted to, share a story, they're able to do it. Even if it's, not like a actual, ghost spirit story, if they wanted to talk about, like any type of, monster or, just anything, they want to talk about that is not human.
Yeah.
They can talk,
Well, I understand
about it.
Our culture is rich with this sort of thing, as are many other tribal cultures.
Yeah.
Best I can recall from my own experience was my father talking to me when I was driving him from Glenpool to Sapulpa.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, well, along one of these roads here, there was a spirit that lived down the end of it, and they told you never to go down that road.
Yeah.
I think the name, what was it, 𝙃𝙤𝙣𝙃𝙤𝙣. And correct me if I'm wrong there, but that's the best of my memory. And I think one of the few chances that I personally had ever had in Muscogee culture like that. So if someone out there has a story to share and would like to make a comment, please do. We'd welcome your input.
We've had a question pop up too. Is there going to be an MC for this event?
At the moment, I did have one planned, but since the date has been changed, I'm still working with that individual on if they're going to be able to make it.
Okay.
So it's being worked out.
Okay, yeah, that's due to the chance of rain, and I understand that chance of getting pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you recall any stories like that your folks ever told you about, or any warnings you might have gotten about getting out at night, perhaps? Or
Yeah, I know. When I grew up in Bristow, down there, like in the dirt roads area. It's nothing but woods down there. My aunt still lives down there. But we grew up out there, and my mom, she was always really strict. Like, once the evening time came, she would holler at us, tell us come in the house. And I never really knew why. I mean, I didn't question her, but she just never really liked us being outside at night. And I mean, I understand now why, because where my aunt lives, it's like a hot spot for, like Bigfoot and yeah, so I understand now why she didn't want us out. But back then, I remember her always telling us not to, be outside at night, not to, go wander off into the woods. And I was always having to stick with my brother or sister. She just made us stay around the house.
Yeah. Well, it seemed like those kind of warnings are twofold.
Mm-hmm.
One, to get you in out of the dark so you don't get lost or something. And two, to prevent any of these experiences coming up. Now, as I said, I had only had very little experience in this kind of genre. I don't want to say genre. That's too nice. In other words, getting the pants scared off of me because of something I couldn't understand. But for me personally, I understand that there are a lot of things going on that we can't explain, that we can't understand, and both good and bad.
Yeah. And
there are many people who have got those kinds of experiences. Now, in kind of prompting you to want to put this together, did you hear that sort of thing? Did it kind of help you move along? Do you recall any stories that maybe someone had ever shared with you?
I know when I was telling my coworkers about this event, my mom, she had told us, she told me a story about, I'm not sure where it was, but she said it was her grandmother. I guess they were waiting. This was like a long time ago, so they were like waiting in like a kind of like, I guess, bathroom, or it was like a shower area. They were waiting in line, and this really traumatized me as a kid. But my mom said that there was two ladies in front of my, grandma. They were waiting on them. They never moved, never did anything. And I guess finally my grandma, she may have, said something to them, or I'm not sure exactly what happened. But she said when those ladies turned around, they didn't have a face. So as a kid, that traumatized me because I don't know, I wasn't even there, but it's like I could picture it, and it scared me as a kid.
Yeah,
it still kind of does now.
Yeah, I've heard these kinds of things, and even from the staff members here in the department about seeing lights on a highway or a road, or hearing noises, or being in a church and hearing stuff going on around them and that they couldn't see or find someone.
Yeah.
You'd think to be in a church you'd be safe, but something like this has always intrigued me. Like you, not that fond of horror stories, but I'm always intrigued by, the hows and the whys there. Have a number of people ever shared these kind of things with you? I mean, is that something that you feel like everybody's got one of them at least tucked away somewhere?
I feel like everyone at least has to have one, and if they don't, they probably just don't want to talk about it. But I think, everyone at least has to have one little, just something that scared them at one point.
Right, and you mentioned Bigfoot, and I'm not sure that's your fault. Fits into this specific area, but it kind of joins in with those others. My wife, who is from the Leech Lake Reservation in Minnesota, said her family's had those experiences, like being out in the woods and hearing something behind them,
Yeah.
kind of stomping through the woods, and I think one of them was on a four-wheeler
Mm-hmm.
and cranked it up, took off down the road, and she kept hearing it, keeping pace with him.
Yeah.
This isn't supposed to be happening. And he said, that's it. We're never going down this trail again. This is somebody else's turf. And
Yeah.
so I need to go there. Another story I recall was during an assignment I was on as a reporter. You talk to all kinds of people and hear lots of things, but a guy came into our radio program and was talking with me about their experiences, and said that there were a number of very strong spirits on old church grounds.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm thinking, yeah, that sounds about right. It's got to be a spiritual center. It's got to draw this kind of energy into it. And wouldn't surprise me, if that kind of thing happened. And he said, oh yeah. He said he saw an old acquaintance standing in a doorway of one of these old camp houses, and was looking at it there, and then turned away to do something, and then turned back, and it was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And he said others have had that same experience, perhaps with the same spirit, I don't know, but he said didn't want to disturb anybody, so he said the best thing to do would be to leave.
Yeah.
Now, have you heard that kind of thing, like you better get your tail out of there if you run across it?
Yeah. I don't, like, to me, I think that's, if I hear anything, or, if I, see a door shut, I'm not going to question it. I'm just going to take off.
Yeah.
I'm not going to think about it. Because we have a lot of that happen, like, in our office, here on the complex. There's things that happen there. And, it's like you see, like, at the corner of your eye, you see, like, little shadows and things like that happen. But I don't, I don't question or think, maybe, that was just something. Like, no, I just take it as it was a ghost, and I'm going to get out of there.
Accept it as being there.
Yeah.
We had those same kind of experiences, I think, some of our staff members in Muscogee Media in our old building, which has now been stripped down to that steel skeleton.
Yeah.
And said that there were images of children there, and somebody had heard it, a child laugh and things like that, and said when they left that building, they were glad.
Yeah.
Said, no, we don't need to be messing around here anymore, so it's right here on our own campus.
Yeah.
Have the other staff members there have many stories like that today?
Yeah, it looked like we all have, like, one story, like, we could share about, like, our little office area. And I mean, luckily, nothing too scary's ever happened, but I'm sure, like, we could all at least tell you one thing that traumatized us.
Yeah, I remember the staff at our old building ran across a huge snake, 𝙃𝙤𝙘𝙃, crawling across the front door, and said it made him jump, a couple steps back as it kept going, and went around the corner and was gone. Yeah, let's not mess out of it. We're going to move out of this building, I'm glad. That's too close to the water if that's a water snake or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not a real fan of 𝙃𝙃𝙃 there. The event you got lined up isn't just people sitting around talking. I understand there's a meal to be provided.
Yes.
And the program will be recording many of these stories.
Yes, if the participants, will ask them before they tell their story if they're okay being recorded. We just really want the audio, not really, like the actual video, just the audio. But if they agree to it, we'll have them sign a recording release, and then, they'll be able to tell their stories then. But also at this event, we will also be showcasing our Muscogee language website too. We'll have like a little projector, and we'll be able to show all of our participants what we've been working on. So So.
Now you mentioned website. Is that something new?
Yes, it was a part of one of our grants that we received, and it ends in December. But with that grant, we were able to create a Muscogee language website. So Eli, Rolling Chang, and myself, we worked with our graphic designer on creating it. And so it's something that we're really proud of that we did. And I think like one of the most important things is just that fact that we did it, and it's like no one can ever take it from the program, from the nation. It stays there no matter what.
Now you sound like you're taking some safeguards to protect your product. I've seen where other tribes have been pretty much ripped off for their language. Some guy came in and did this big instructional thing and recorded all this, and then says you can't have it back unless you buy it in a book or whatever else.
Yeah.
So you're taking measures to keep it here.
Yes. Yeah.
Now the chance to tell a story like that is pretty much open for anyone to come in.
Yeah.
Are there any kind of restrictions or anything, and perhaps subject or age, whatever else?
No, we really didn't set any. We just, chose if you want to come up and share a story, you're free to do that. Like we said, it didn't just have to be like ghost spirit story. Just whatever, terrified you at one point in your life, you can come, feel free to share it. But yeah, we're really excited to hear about people's stories. We had a fluent speaker call us the other day, and she was asking us what can be talked about, and we told her whatever she wanted to, and she mentioned a really good story, and she said she's got photos of it, and so she's going to bring those photos, and everyone will be able to see. She said, I guess in the photos she captured some spirits, and sometimes you see like a car or a house in there, and there wasn't even no car or house there. So we're excited to meet her.
Would those include like floating globes of light? I used to work with a photographer here at the Muscogee Media who had photographed some of those at the council house, and and showed me, and by gosh, there they were. Oh boy! And I asked some of the people down there who used to work there that I knew that was this a place where this sort of quote supernatural occurrence happened? He said, "Oh yeah." He says, "Yeah, the stairway here. If you go up the left side of the stairway, you can sometimes hear a child's steps going up. They're coming down, and those kind of energies were floating around there. I hope that isn't going to be much of the case for either of us right now. But in the last couple of minutes we've got, let's run back over the logistics of your meeting, where, when, who, etc.
Okay, so we're going to hold this ghost storytelling event November 3rd on a Friday. It's going to start at 6 p.m. and last till 10 p.m. And like I said, if you're okay with being recorded, we'll ask you before you tell your story. What we're wanting to do is create little social media graphics telling your story. We want to, make little cool videos with it. And it's going to be at the Historic and Cultural Preservation Building here in Okmulgee. And we're going to have, it's like on the side of the highway, like when you're heading out of Okmulgee. But we'll have signs put up, because I believe when you enter this address, it takes you to like a white building, but it's a little house behind that building. So, but we will have signs up, so hopefully everyone's able to find it. And, if you have any questions, you can contact our office. Our number is 918-732-7725, and we'll be able to answer your questions. And then also another important thing is to make sure you bring your own chair, to this event.
Okay, so if you got a powwow chair, you should
Yeah.
have it along. Okay. Now, what's going to be the end product of these videos?
Just little, because I know like a big group of people, they just love scary stories. They like listen to them. And so that's basically what we're wanting to do, is just, another little series to post onto our social medias, on our YouTubes, and, probably Facebook and Instagram as well. We just want to create more content.
Right, so they would be available digitally later at some point.
Yes.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. Jordan, thank you so much for coming in and sharing this information and kind of sharing that little personal story. I pay attention to those things myself. It's like I don't go out in the woods and whistle and
Yes.
stuff like that. And stuff I can't explain, I'll just kind of let her go. Not be messing with it. Okay, if you're interested in our program, the address is there. Our good friend Jared is putting it up on the screen at some point. And if you want to contact us about talking with me on Emvpanayv, please do. Gary Fife, 732-7643. 2,000 𝙀𝙗. We appreciate you coming in.
𝙃𝙗𝙪𝙙𝙾.